Hi everybody, it's the CC and JT Amateur Hour where production values go to die, obviously. Over there is CC.
And over there is JT.
And it's January 11th, 2026. God, 2026. Man, we started this way back when. Now it's like 2026.
Yep.
So if you're new to the experience, and we certainly welcome you, but if you're new to the experience, this is a podcast where CC and I started basically to start just to talk about things, but it's evolved into something like what our mission statement is to help writers write. And two of those writers that we like to help write are each other, is help us.
Right.
We use this time to sit down and articulate what we're thinking. And so it helps us, frame our writing experience. And we hope that people listening or watching us have that same insight or experience. Inspiration. Noticing that, even if you are a pantser like me, you still need to have some sort of general framework, some sort of sense of organization, where you find yourself, spinning wheels. So it is our hope that this podcast gives you ideas.
Or if nothing else, maybe you will feel less alone.
Or maybe at least you'll learn what not to do. Okay, we're funny.
I don't know. I think all things considered, and probably we'll discuss some of this today, but I think things are going well.
Yeah, things are going good. We're having some good experiences. We have low points, but we have high points. We're going to talk first of all about the big high point, and then we're going to circle back around to it. There's 4 people that we want to say hello to. We want to make special attention to Alane, Chaz, Jennifer, and Cheryl, all of whom this week reached out to us about our books.
Correct.
Which is fun.
That was a lot of fun. It was actually a good week.
Yeah, it was a good week for fan interaction. And I don't want to say reader interaction might be better. Reader interaction. But to interact with
friends.
Interact with fans, and talk about the books. Jennifer's been asking some really fantastic questions. Chaz has some fascinating insights, and of course, Alane is always awesome. So, and for Cheryl, we will show you if we want to, reach over here.
We have a little packet that we're putting together for you, Cheryl.
Yep.
Got your book bag and the 2 books that you ordered.
So we'll
also throw in bookmark and things, but try not to spill coffee everywhere.
Yep. But Cheryl, your stuff will be
Thank
on.
you.
Our plan is to hook everything up, print it all out, and get it out the door today. That's our plan. That plan being as of Sunday. I don't know when you'll see it, but hopefully, we'll get there. So that's pretty cool.
But if you watch this, by the time you watch this, you may already have them.
Yeah. So that's all fantastic. On the podcast front, between our 2 podcasts, the Nevada Author Network and the Amateur Hour, we also invite and have recorded other writers, not only to give them a platform, but also, as you said, so they feel a little less alone. But it's always great fun. And James Raquepau, who is writes in a genre which appeals to us, which is Irish folklore tinged with a little bit of fantasy, which is awesome, considering our background. And then our quote unquote neighbor.
Yes.
Kendall Brown, which we're going to be posting on this Wednesday, which is the 14th.
But that will not be a Nevada Author Network podcast. That's actually the Amateur Hour. It's an extra episode because Kendall reached out to us, and we really enjoy talking to Kendall, and she had some great ideas. So that's a fun one to look out for. We need to get more of our local authors back on the Nevada Author Network.
Yep.
So we'll be working on season 2.
Yep, and
very soon.
Kendall brought some interesting stuff to the table that we hadn't considered through the use of writing aids. And I should, preface this as I don't want to take too much thunder out of her podcast, so it is very interesting. But she talks about tools through artificial intelligence that she uses to enhance her writing experience, but not to write her books.
Yes.
And that's a key point there. So we'll let Kendall speak to herself on Wednesday. And I know that there's going to be some automatic pushback from some members of the writing community, which we certainly empathize with.
We understand completely.
But as I said in the podcast, that 10 years from now, I think it's going to be pretty much part of the landscape.
It will be interesting to see how it evolves over the next few years, but the things that she brought up related to AI were things that I never considered for just, as JT said, writing assistance, but not actual writing. So there is a fine line. I think a lot of people are pretty much of the mindset that books should not be written by AI. We don't like having our books scraped for AI training, but there may be some positive uses of it. So we'll let you decide.
And and as I said bluntly in the podcast, Kendall is the future. Yeah. Kendall is the future of writing, of independent writing and publishing. And CC, whether we like to say it or not, we may either be the present or more towards the past, the way with some of our habits.
Legacy.
Old school, maybe the whole way it is. And that's kind of a bitter pill to swallow, but that is the reality, that Kendall is the future. So her voice definitely has a place in the discussion. So, so a couple more things. You might want to put your necklace more around the back here because your microphone is going, your microphone.
Well, there's not much I can do about it.
Well, I mean, put it around their turtleneck side so it's a little bit more stable.
I don't know if that's going to make much difference.
Well, let's give that a shot. That seems to
I will say the necklace that I have clipped this to it belonged to JT's grandmother. And so it's a very special piece of jewelry to me, and her birthday will be coming up in about a weekish. Yeah. She would have been 115.
Yeah.
So, hi, Grandma.
Hi, Grandma. If you're wondering what the general thing is going on with the CC and JT part is we are just writing. We
have a lot of writing going on.
And we'll talk about our release dates and everything like that. But right now, we went through we spent not a lot, but we spent a fair amount of 2025 doing book signings, doing public events and things like that.
Testing out the waters, basically.
And what we have found through what other people are doing, watching what other people are doing, and things like that, is that it seems like, the deep part of the winter is sort of a wind down period before the wind up period. When things get warmer, then we'll start doing events. We don't have any planned events, though we might have a couple
ideas.
We have a couple ideas.
We do know that there will be at least 2 events that we will revisit this year. One with Sierra Arts Foundation, and I'm pretty sure we're going to do Mark Twain Days again.
Yep.
Nevada Day, I think we're both iffy on. I don't know if we're going to do the same thing we did this past Nevada Day. And we'll talk about October here in a minute, but we may not do that the same way we did it in October of 2025. So that, I think, is kind of on the fence right now, whether or not we do Nevada Day.
Yep. So, but we do have some things coming up in 2026, and they're coming up on us rather quickly, is, of course, book releases.
Yes.
Somebody said that we are prolific writers, and I don't think we are. I did not even think of it that way.
No.
I just thought that we were, we just write.
Yes.
But it turns out we may be prolific writer, because as I look what I have written here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books in 2026. So I guess that does count as prolific, doesn't it?
Yes. And we will say that part of the reason for that is that we're kind of backloaded on writing. JT had a lot of books kind of in progress that he's been catching up on, and we released many of them last year. I'm getting back into being more prolific because I also have had a lot of books on the back burner, and now I'm revising and getting them ready to go out. So I will be releasing more books this year than I did last year because I only had 1 come out. But this year is going to be a big book release year.
So we're just going to do this by months because we don't want to tie ourselves by dates, but
right.
For the month of March, looking at the releasing of the Finding Salvation compilation. Right now, what it is if you go out to the websites, our books. Well, that's actually technically not on our bookstore, but if you go out to Amazon and things like that, Finding Salvation Part 1 is out there for 99 cents. I'm going to come back and talk about this in a second. Finding Salvation Part 1 is out there for 99 cents on Amazon, and of course it's on the other platforms. And what I was going to do is I was going to release Novellas Part 2 and 3. Then we got into a money discussion and realized that would cost money.
A lot.
So a lot of money. So, so what I decided to do is I decided to combine all the novellas. So parts 1, 2, and 3 will be released in March as a single book.
Paperback,
single paperback book. So it'll be available in our bookstore and on all the platforms. But here's the deal. Once we do that, part 1, which is still going to be novella, is going to stay at 99 cents unless you decide to become a subscriber to our newsletter. Then you will get it for free. You'll just get it for free, and I'll just drop it on you, either in PDF or ebook. So if you want to do that, reach out to us through our website. Boom, done.
Also, if you are a current subscriber, we don't want to leave you out of this. So if you just contact us through our website and let us know, we will give you one of the either PDF or ebook versions of it. Or you can go out and spend the 99 cents.
We would prefer you would spend the 99 cents because that helps us on Amazon. But if 99 cents is too much for you, and so for some people it is, we respect that, and so we will be happy to drop an EPUB or a PDF on you, whichever you prefer. It's 40, 42, 43, 44,000 words. It's not terrifically long.
It's a novella.
It's a novella, and it did place in the Independent Authors Network contest.
It was a finalist.
As a finalist, so it doesn't suck.
No, actually, it's one of JT's better works. I mean, they're all good in my opinion, but I'm biased. I think that it is a good addition to, it's the prequel to the Serving Salvation series, so it's a good addition to that universe. And it has, where I talked about Serving Salvation having kind of Battlestar Galactica vibes to me, I think Finding Salvation gives me a little bit of Blade Runner vibes. And kind of that dark noir type of science fiction. So definitely something to check out. And we should say that for the newsletter subscription, it is Finding Salvation that you would get the free copy of. That's the only one.
Yep, Finding Salvation, part 1.
Yes.
The book will be out there just like normal with the rest of the book. So we're looking at doing that sometime in March, and we might try to talk to a local vendor to allow us to use some space as a book release. So that would be fun if we could get away with that. Cool. Your books are up next.
Yes, so I'm working on Restless Spirits book 2 and 3. The first book is already out there, Passion Restored, and I actually have sold a few copies somewhat recently. Jacci Turner, very gratefully, I'm very grateful to Jacci Turner because she mentioned that as one of her first reads of 2026, and she's put out a review for me, so thank you, Jacci.
Thank you, Jacci.
As she said, it is paranormal, it has some history, and it is definitely, there's a lot going on in the book, even though it is a somewhat simple read, I think. So that's a fun one. But picking up with book 2 of that, different main characters, but the same backstory, the background characters are all going to be in all of the books, basically. So it's, in some ways, it's small town cozy. There will be different locations. The second book is, my outline went out the window a little bit. So a lot of it currently is taking place in Virginia City again. And this time last year, we had actually just done an overnight up in Virginia City at the Silver Queen Hotel. So that is factoring into book 2 as well. Actually, a lot more than in book 1. So that is scheduled for April. Book 3, which is already written, does take place in a different location. That will be out in June. So those are my 2 upcoming, we have more later in the year, but in April and June, we're looking at Restless Spirits book 2 and 3.
Yep. And then coming up in July is the planned release for the next Finding Salvation book. So the first Finding Salvation book, which releasing, in March, talks about what happens around the time that the Salvation leaves Earth. What happened is 3,000 years in the future is the Serving Salvation triplet, the 3 books, trifecta, trilogy, whatever you want to talk about. So what happened when Salvation left Earth? And that's the first Finding Salvation book. That's the one that's going to be out in March. So that book focuses on the events around what happens when Salvation leaves Earth. The book that's going to be released in July is what happens to those who are left behind. And so that's, be quiet. So
I'm just thinking that you've turned into George Lucas, because with Star Wars, the second 3 books in the series came out first, obviously, Star Wars, Empire, and Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So that's Serving Salvation for JT, and now Finding Salvation would be, the what I guess we call the prequel Star
Yep.
Wars.
So we have the 3 books for Serving Salvation, and then
Yep.
we're going to have the second book. Not that finger. The second book for the Finding Salvation
Right.
series is going to be sometime in July, and I am plotting out in the back of my brain the 3rd book. I haven't figured out exactly how to do that, but I'm irritated with myself because I really was hoping to end it at the 2nd book, but I can't because, there's probably going to be a 3rd book. There almost will have to be a 3rd book. The 2nd book is coming in around 65,000 words, so tericase.com. I'm going to be reaching out to you here pretty soon to talk about, starting the editing process for that book. And Teri, I think you're going to like this one.
Also, I will say, and JT is going to get really upset with me about this, but
I might as well just start now.
I'm not the only one who's bringing this up at this point. It is a very complex universe. There are a lot of characters. There are a lot of technological things. Even though it's not tech heavy, there are things involved that are very interesting. And there is some interest in what I think should be a compendium or a companion book to the series that will talk about the different characters, especially now that you're doing different time periods. We may need things like family trees, and you've mentioned specific families, but talking about the salvation and the basically the layout of the salvation, and there are the 3 factions kind of. You've got the like the engineers, and you have the religious faction, and you have the political, and there's all that stuff going on. So my prediction is that JT will be writing a companion to this very reluctantly and not in a happy way, but I think at least one of the current readers is on board with this idea too. Basically, there needs to be something to help keep track of all the things that are going on in the universe.
Sigh.
His fans are calling for it.
Okay, so the Finding Salvation book 2 is March, and then Finding Salvation book 3 is going to be in July, and then October Nevada Day, October 31st is going to be a big day for CC and JT because our target is to each of us to release a book on that day.
Simultaneous book releases.
And ironically, or surprising, or not so surprisingly, they're both going to have Nevada backgrounds. So, Battleborn Bride.
So, Battleborn Bride is the book that I've been talking about for a few years now. It is something that was, I was inspired by my former job as an archivist at the Nevada State Archives. It will heavily revolve around Nevada's statehood and the Constitutional Convention. So, it will be a lot heavier on the history of the creation of the state of Nevada, specifically Carson City. Mark Twain will be in there because that's about the time period he became Mark Twain, and he was hanging out at the territorial and then maybe early state legislature. He left the area pretty quickly. Actually, he might have left in 1863, but anyway. So that will be heavily related to Nevada Day, and that's why I'm hoping for a Nevada Day release.
And I'm hoping for a Nevada Day release because that's going to be the 4th book of the Sheriff in Nevada series, which is still my favorite, not my favorite, which is still my most popular series. So it'll be the 4th book of the Maggie, and it'll pick up at the events at the end of March of 2020. So it'll pick up at the ends of 2020. The community is still dealing with COVID, and it is an election year.
Yes.
And so it'll be dealing with all those complex overlaying things that were laid out as a foundation in book 3. So book 4 will deal with that. And I sound so authoritative, like, I know what I'm doing. I have not written a single word in my brain about that yet. I've been focusing on the Finding Salvation, but my brain will have to switch over here pretty soon.
Well, and not only that being a Nevada Day book, also it will figure into the fact that this is a gubernatorial election year here in Nevada as well. So it's a very topical topic that it's very, it's kind of right on target for things that are going on even now here in Nevada, because we are dealing with a lot of the after effects of 2020 in a political sense. And so this year's election will tie in very nicely with what JT will be writing.
It'll all just sort of blend together, so
Mhm.
to speak.
Yep.
So like I said, we've got like 6 books, and we're going to talk about the 7th here in a second, but we're talking about 6 books here in 2025. So it's funny, like I said, what about 2026? Jesus God. And forgive me if I for that too. But it's like when somebody called us prolific, I didn't really think we were prolific, and now it's like, well, wait a minute.
Maybe we are.
Maybe we are. Holy crap. Okay, and let's talk about the 7th book that we're going to be outlining, but we're going to be doing that together, and that's going to be the sequel or prequel. Here we go again.
Yep.
The prequel to From Tundra to Tiara.
Yes.
So this was an interesting book that we wrote.
Mm-hmm.
A few years ago, we went to a movie. What was that movie?
The Lost City.
Pardon me?
The Lost City
with Sandra Bullock and
Channing Tatum.
Channing
Tatum.
Yeah, him. And as we were leaving, we saying, that was cute, nice little remake of,
Romancing the Stone.
But we could do better. And then we tried to do better. We tried to
do different.
We tried to do a young Sandy Bullock movie. So you would write a chapter from the female protagonist point of view. I would write a chapter from the male protagonist view, and we went back and forth, and it went out okay. And it was a fun book to write, and we ended up staying married.
And for me, it felt like a very quick book to write too, because I never felt the doldrums part of the book, because every time I got one of JT's chapters, I was inspired to respond as the character, not so much as, worrying about the story itself, but how would I respond to what Travis would say to Lexi, and, vice versa. So I thought it was an easy process overall.
Yep. So our plan is we are going to, sometime in March, we're thinking about taking another road trip, which we codenamed BAT, Big Ass Trip. We took the north route last time, which was not last year.
2024,
which we went from our home in Carson City, and we went to I-80 until we left I-80, and then we went to a northern track and actually looped up by Devil's Tower and Canada, and then came by Niagara Falls, and then we ended up in Maryland. Say hi to my sister Letty. Hi, Letty.
And we also hit up Cooperstown while we were in that area.
Yeah, Cooperstown. And I finally found out why the Baseball Hall of Fame is in Cooperstown, which is why I should have known all along. But Google it. We'll just deal with it.
That's a story for another time.
And then we did a kind of a southern route on the way back, so we could hit some states,
bit.
And we saw some states and we saw some things. But this time we're going to take a strictly southern route going east. Hopefully pick up some things we haven't seen. For instance, we haven't done the Grand Canyon yet in all of our years, so that's a bucket list.
We've flown over it. We've seen it from the air, but we haven't done it on the ground.
Yeah, and so we're hoping to do that, maybe go through Albuquerque, spend as little possible time as we can in Texas.
He was born in Texas.
And then, and then go take and hit the Gulf Coast, and then the eastern seaboard, and then wander up and see my sister, Letty. And then maybe take a quick detour up to Rhode Island so we can knock that off our list. That's one of the few states we haven't been.
Yep.
And then somewhere in there, get Washington, D.C. and then head home. So we're looking forward to that BAT also.
Yes, and Washington, D.C. should be fun because I'm looking forward to a trip to the National Archives. Woo! There's really a lot to see. I don't know if we've decided whether or not we're going to hit up Gettysburg again. But that was a fun stop on our first trip, so we'll see where we ending up. But we'll be, by the end of that trip, I think we'll have 48 out of the 50 states.
Yep.
I think maybe 47.
Yeah,
I think we're missing Hawaii
and
Montana and North Dakota.
Yeah, I think
so. I think those will be the states we're missing.
Yeah, I think that's fun because we've been boots dry. We may not have spent the night, but we've been boots dry on almost all of them between the two of us. There's been still some states that CC will have missed, but not many. No.
I mean, I went to Alaska. I was on the ground in the airport in Alaska, but I haven't actually technically been to Alaska. I don't know if we're counting Alaska for me.
But I used to live in Alaska twice, actually, when I was a younger kid. So it's...
So, I mean, technically I can count the fact that I have been through Alaska, just like we've been to Montreal. Yeah. But we were only in the airport.
No, but we spent the night in Ottawa.
We did?
Yeah.
No, we were in Ontario.
Ontario.
We were in London, Ontario.
London, Ontario.
Yeah, no.
Right, you're right.
No. No, we've done Ontario and we've done British Columbia now.
Right.
So Canada's a whole separate story.
Yeah, Canada, that's going to take some serious times.
Yep.
Okay, so the point of us saying all of that,
Yep.
to get back to the point that we're trying to make, is that we're going to be working on we're going to be outlining while we're on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we'll be outlining from Tundra to Tiara while we are on the road.
We'll say it's a book in the From Tundra to Tiara universe. It's
Right.
not like a direct sequel or anything. We have given it the Queens and Consorts kind of series title because since we were toying with the idea of doing more than one book, we had to give it a series title on Amazon. And so that's what we settled on, was Queens and Consorts. So this will be in the Queens and Consorts universe. Plus, I have proposed that we work on a nonfiction book that we tried to start during the first BAT. And with, I don't know, dubious results, I guess you would say.
Yeah, it was a mishmash because it didn't really have any focus.
Right. So we'll see if we can figure out how to focus that and maybe put together our 2 trips and turn that into a nonfiction book sometime in the future so we can expand our repertoire a little bit.
Oh yeah, because we need to release more books. Okay, moving along, I just want to talk very briefly. I keep meaning to do a blog post or on what's the last one that we did? I forget. Basically the network. Oh, I'm just spacing here. Starts with an S.
Sierra Arts Foundation?
No. The blog system. Oh, I'll think of it.
Hold on. I'm trying to figure out.
You just did a blog post on that application. Talking about. I told you it was a good
Substack.
One.
Substack. Okay.
Don't get old, folks.
I just needed the context.
Okay.
Substack.
I've been meaning to do a Substack on the idea of bandwagons and everything like that. But basically, I just want to say congratulations to Chicago Bears for surviving yesterday. Boy, that was a hell of a game. Wow. And so somebody on the internet noted ever since the Pope was elevated,
Pope Leo,
from the Pope who started out in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Things have been going right for Chicago sports teams. The Cubs got a really good bat yesterday, Alex Bergman, and they got a really good pitcher in the last week. Mm-hmm. The Bears obviously won last night after being down 18 points. Holy crap!
That was a heck of a game.
And then also the 2 other major sports. The Bulls and the Blackhawks also won yesterday. So yesterday was a good Chicago sports day. And so, hey, Your Holiness, you rock. But I've been meaning to do a Substack about bandwagons, and I'm still mulling that. But that's not terrifically important. I just wanted to send a shout out to the Chicago teams for actually, wow.
Well, and to put that in context, JT has been following the Raiders. Now Las Vegas Raiders.
For years.
Started out the Oakland Raiders, but has a bet going with another family member.
Our fan club president,
who is a 49ers fan. So since it was like Oakland and San Francisco, there was a, natural little bit of a rivalry. It would be like being a White Sox and a Cubs fan, basically.
Right. Yeah.
But the Raiders are not doing well at all.
Ever since,
Las Vegas is too distracting, I think.
Yeah, the Raiders, ever since the new ownership has taken over, they've just been lost in the woods. And I don't like to switch teams. I like to hang with teams. I mean, for God's sakes, we were Cubs fans since the 80s. And it took like 20 or 30 years before we finally got our World Series, which is, by the way, 10 years ago this year.
Yeah.
But, it's, and we're actually feeling optimistic about this year. But it's, I don't like being a bandwagon, but anyway, okay.
But all that to, go to say that we are sports fans. I'm more of a baseball fan than anything else. Yeah. So,
but we are loyal fans.
We are loyal fans.
Once we pick a team, we stick with the team. And the other obvious example, of course, is Wolfpack.
Oh, obviously, our alma mater.
Go Pack.
University of Nevada, Reno. Woo.
Yeah. And so, so we're fans. So, and that sort of segues us or transitions us to just, not deeply, but we just want to say how much we love talking to fans, people who read our books, people who have questions about our books. And we talk about this at the top of the podcast, But I also want to just extrapolate that just a little bit more. There's really nothing more fun than talking to fans who have questions about our books, honest questions, people who have criticisms, and people immediately align that word to negative criticisms. And that's not true. That's not how it should be.
Right.
You know, jerks can be jerks, but people who read our books are genuinely interested and they have feedback. And I've gotten some really good feedback, for example, from Jennifer, who's right now working herself through the Salvation Book 1, Serving Salvation Book 1. And I probably should do that compilation. Or not compilation, but compendium. Because she's asking some very good questions. But, you know, it's things like that. When people come up to our table at book signings just to talk about their own writing, and also to talk about our writing. You know, folks, I'm not a people person. Cece will tell you that right up front. I am not a people person. My happiest place is this.
Not even a people person with me.
But
He's going to let that one slide.
But, you know, to meet with people to talk about writing, you know, to meet with other writers on our podcast to talk about writers. It's just fun, and it's really illuminating, because with pantsers, maybe not so much as plotters, with pantsers we just write on the wind. We write where the wind takes us, where the mood takes us. We let the book speak to us, and then let the characters really, you know, speak to us. Whereas plotters, and I realize this is a generalization, characters, you will do this. You will do this at this time, and so on and so forth. And, you know, there's strengths and weaknesses to that. But I think more with pantsers, when we are queried about what we did, it makes us actually think about what we did. And there is so much immense value in that. Good editors do the same thing. They make us think about what we did. Yeah. You just can't throw something up on the page without a good editor challenging you, and that's what Teri does, saying, are you sure you want to do this way? Right. A good editor, you know, there are flavors of good editors, copy editors, proofreaders, and so on and so forth. But a good editor, a good creative editor or a good copy editor will dive into the third dimension and say, hey, are you sure you want to say it this way? Fans do the same thing, because sometimes if you've done a good job, they will walk away from your book and they will be thinking about your book, and they will want to know what you did and why you did it.
And they may wonder what happened to the characters at a particular point in the book, because obviously you don't put everything in the book. The reader fills that in, and they may wonder whether what they're thinking matches what you envisioned, because everybody's takeaway from a book is going to be different. It's based on personal experience. It's based on maybe other things they've read. So it is really interesting to talk to people who've read your book, and they'll bring up things that you never considered. Right. That it's just like, oh my gosh, why didn't that, you know, that never occurred to me as I was writing it. That's a fascinating idea. So, and that's where I think fan fiction really comes from too, is that the fans are curious about where the story would go. There are some universes where fan fiction is very prevalent, and it is something where they not only are so curious about it, but they want to explore it through their own lens, basically, their vision of what's going on in the story. And I personally think that fan fiction is a great honor, because if you've created a universe that your fans resonate with so much that they will spend the time writing about it and talking about it, you know, they go back and forth, and there are fans of fan fiction that, you know, they have this whole little community going on that's completely separate from the original source material. And I think that's wonderful. I know some authors probably don't, but I think, and I don't know if you feel the same way, I would be so deeply honored if anybody ever wrote a fan fiction based on one of my characters or one of my books. Yep. So I think getting that input from readers is very valuable.
Yeah, and we should, just a quick divergence here, is if you are ever thinking about being a writer, fan fiction is a good door to walk through, even if it never sees the light of day. Yep. if it's something that, and it doesn't have to be about, like, Star Trek or things like that. If it's any particular subject that captures your fancy and captures your passion, writing about it, and again, if it doesn't have to see the light of day, but writing about it gives you the tools that you need in order to publicly publish things. Because there is a certain rhythm, there is a certain way that books have to be presented to the public for them to digest it, because you want to be sure that what you're writing is understood. And as Cece said, sometimes readers will have their own ideas, and you don't want to minimize the imagination, but I've found by having good editors, I am more inclined to say what I mean and not what I meant to say.
Right.
And so that's important. So fans, we love fans because they keep us honest, they keep us direct, and they help us write what we mean to say, and what we hope that they interpret.
And based on JT's comment about someone saying that we were prolific writers, I was feeling like JT is much more prolific than I am. And this is why these discussions are happening about your books versus mine. I still only have a couple out there right now. So I'm hoping as this series that I'm working on progresses, that maybe some people will pick up on it. And just to transition a little bit, the other day I was feeling a little down because, getting into the second week of 2026 now, and I had yet to see a book sale, whereas JT gets one every now and then, which I'm thrilled about that too. But it's kind of like, oh, well, what about my poor little book? And so I posted, really funny story here. I posted that I was feeling a little down because I hadn't seen any sales yet in 2026. And I posted it on various social media platforms, but on Threads, that post took off a little bit. And it got 97 likes. It got 26 comments from fellow authors because I did it in the writers community thread. And, some people were like, be patient, it takes time. Other people were like, I feel you. I've gotten some page reads, now it's stopped, or nobody's looking at my books, it's been out for months. And it's nice to come together and have those, you're supporting each other moments with fellow authors as well, not just fans. So I was actually kind of surprised at how that one took off on that particular platform. Plus, I had just posted that, and I did a TikTok about this, which actually took off a little bit too. I posted that, I went out to check the mail, and there was a check in the mailbox because one of my books had sold. So technically, my post about not selling anything this year is now incorrect because right after I posted that, I found out that I sold a book.
Yeah. And it's fun when other writers are fans.
Yes.
Hi, Jacci.
Hi, Jacci.
Hi, Jacci.
And I'm currently reading Jacki's second book in the. I read Tree Singer. Now I'm reading Windcatcher. So I'm hoping to finish that soon. I will post a review when I'm done. But I'm really enjoying it. So thank you, Jacci. I'm enjoying your book as well. So
we've had a fun couple of weeks since our last podcast, and we're going to continue to have fun. We're going to continue to have fun. We have the fun side of it. We have the business side of it. We've had to spend a whole bunch of money to keep our LLC running. That's fine. We do the LLC because it gives us,
legitimacy.
It gives us structure, and it makes us feel like, we do have a job.
We're retired.
We're retired, but we have a job, and we don't have Harleys or a big RV.
Yeah.
Thank God.
So far, 2026 is fun. We're enjoying it. Yeah. I think we've built a good foundation in 2025 because we didn't really take any major trips. We did go out to Ely for a few days, which was nice. Yeah. So we're kind of looking for more balance this year. I think during these quieter months when we don't have any events, we will probably be focusing on writing primarily, getting those books ready, get them out throughout the course of the year, and then we'll ramp up the events as the year goes on.
So we hope that you continue to follow along and be aware. We will be continuing to feature writers on this podcast and on the Nevada Author Network, which is over at twomoorebooks.com. We will be releasing, at least 6 books this year, and gosh darn, I guess we're prolific. And we will be continuing to follow the Bears and the Cubs.
We're not basketball fans, so.
Yeah, we're not basketball fans.
But we'll randomly say doubles while we're at it.
Yeah, we did have fun at that one basketball game that we did go to.
That is true.
We went to the Sacramento Kings, and that was fun.
That was at Golden One.
Oh my God, they're so energetic. Oh my gosh, it was it was Brooklyn and Sacramento, and that was just wow.
I think that's one of those sports. The basketball season is so long, and we kind of feel this even as baseball fans. I think feel this way. It can be a little long, and you lose focus. Really, I mean, you have I can't think of the break in the summer. What am I thinking
spring.
Of?
All-Star game.
The All-Star break. About that time we kind of start losing focus until the playoff season starts. But with basketball, it feels like just the entire season is too long.
Yeah.
I think it's fun, though, going to see a game in person versus watching it on television because it's so much more interactive. You get all the environment. And this may be because we're writers.
Yeah.
Being there with the crowd, enjoying the fan interactions. As you're wandering around, you kind of chat with people. And
basketball and baseball should be seen in person.
Definitely.
Football should be seen on TV.
It's too cold.
It's not just too cold, but it's got a lot more commercial breaks and it's a lot more pauses. I'm sure it has that community feeling if you're a passionate fan. Hello, Bills. But I think that football is best experienced from the comfort of your living room.
I will push back on that a little bit. I think professional football, maybe on television, I think high school and college football is a whole different experience. And I did not go to a lot of high school football games. I kind of wish I had. That's kind of a formative event for teenagers and going into college as well. So I think maybe at the high school and college level, going to those games in person is a good thing. But at the professional level, I'd agree that TV is the way to go.
Yeah, we're just sort of blabbering because we're just blabbering.
No, we're just wrapping up that thought.
Just wrapping up the thought. So fans, you're fun. Keep reaching out to us. Keep talking to us. If you see it, when you see us at a book event, come up and talk to us. Reach out to us through our website. Maybe someday we'll do another live TikTok. Maybe not YouTube, but another live TikTok, which was really fun.
I might start doing the TikTok more often. I keep getting those pokes from TikTok. It's like, people enjoyed your live. Why don't you try it again? It's like, it was kind of fun. I've toyed with the idea, taking this back to writing, of actually doing like a writing sprint while doing a TikTok live. So I could chat with people if other people want to kind of accountability buddies maybe, where I sit down and say, hey, I'm going to write for half an hour. I'm going to live stream it on TikTok. Please join me.
Yeah, something like that.
I might try that every once in a while.
Yeah, I think we should let these people go.
Okay.
We do have somebody scheduled to take up this space next Sunday, so we hope to have that in, and that if not, then you'll see us next week or something like that. But thank you for being fans. Thank you for following along. Thank you. And
thank you to our fellow authors for being so supportive and awesome.
And thank you to the Sierra Arts Foundation for giving us some structure to form a community. So until next time, over there's CC.
Over there's JT.
Y'all take care of yourselves. Bye.